Hello, my name is Courtney Self, and this is Module 5, Understanding My Community for EDL 856. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it in this format. For some reason, I can't get my screencast-o-matic to show my thumbnail as well as show my presentation. So I currently work at Council Bluffs Community School District, and what you should know about Council Bluffs is that it was established in 1853. It's very diverse in basically in the people that we support in Council Bluffs. It's got an Irish ancestry, and we are within the Potawatomi County. It is one of the largest counties in the state of Iowa, as well as looking at Council Bluffs as a whole. It is one of the bigger cities that makes up Potawatomi County, and knowing that it pulls a huge and very diverse demographic, um, economically, socially, and one of the things that I do want to point out about Council Bluffs is that there is something for everyone here. You have the downtown scene. You have, the west side where, you have old mom and pop shops. And then you have the east side that has a lot of new and more recent development for shopping. In terms of looking at political views, it is a very liberal, for the most part. There is some conservative community, but mostly, the conservative is, geared around the idea of relationships, religion, and culture. In response to change, the most recent change that I could find was the tax levy for the GEO bond that we recently passed as a school district. I talked about this in a previous module. They are going to be redoing the new middle schools. So, the city taxes will rise because we are going to be taking out a GEO bond in order to update and renovate both middle schools here in Council Bluffs. In terms of population, according to the US Census in 2016, the population of Council Bluffs is around 62,000. In terms of ethnicity, it is 90% Caucasian. And then we do have a lot of other, races and ethnicities that are established across our district. In terms of religion, it's very Catholic, Protestant based, and Baptist. We do have several different types of religious cultures, all without and throughout Council Bluffs. One of the things that makes Council Bluffs really unique is that it does have two different school districts in the city. I don't think any other state, or I believe no other state in this or excuse me, no other city in the state of Iowa has two completely public school districts within within the state or within the community. Council Bluffs actually has Lewis Central, which serves around 13,000 students, and then we have Council Bluffs Community School District. And so what's interesting about that is that we have a district enrollment of around 9,000 students that really should be coming to Council Bluffs. So they're open enrolling to Lewis Central. And Lewis Central is going to be placed in a newer development in the newer part of Council Bluffs, whereas Council Bluffs is pretty much landlocked in terms of growth. It will not expand any further. So this has made it very challenging. One of the district's missions has been to, really create opportunities for students so that we're pulling those open enrollment students back into the city limits. In terms of occupations, some of the most popular occupations are industrial, architectural, and just really the private sector. We see a lot of insurance and a lot of just small business owners. In order for there to be communication throughout Council Bluffs, the biggest platforms that I believe you can find are the Community School District website, as well as the Council Bluffs City website. We have several different radio stations, and then we have two huge newspaper outlets that publish all sorts of stories from Council Bluffs. And then finally, we're so close to Omaha, Nebraska. We're literally right across the viaduct, that we actually share local news stations with Omaha. In terms of our community groups, I would say that there is a huge influence of community stakeholders that are bringing, their groups within our school district, and the school district does a very nice job of this. We have the Lions Club, the Rotary Club, we have American Legion, and we have the Order of the Eagles. A lot of these clubs are constantly providing students with new resources, with support, and also just, in terms of, teaching kids, coming in, being hands-on and bringing, their personal business, as well as their professional business into the schools, and really providing students a holistic opportunity to see, success from every angle. In terms of community groups, there is a huge push right now in our school district for the trades and professions. Kind of like I said, bringing those people into the school so that students can see what success looks like throughout the whole entire, life and business. Trades has become a huge thing. The big mission for our district is that, every student will graduate with a high school diploma and another piece of paper, whatever that might be. Year 13 completed, a trades program certification done, or, an associate's degree. They have been really pushing this through. We have a local community college, Iowa Western, and we've been working collaboratively with them to really support these students so that they can meet the superintendent's mission and vision for, students graduating with a high school diploma and another piece of paper. In terms of problem organizations at this time, there is no problem. There's no organization that I'm aware of at this time that would influence a school teacher. In terms of leadership, we're structured very, very differently. We have, like I said, the community groups in Council Bluffs. Those are really our leadership groups that really support our school district. But within our own community school district, we have the school board, and the school board takes recommendations from the teaching and learning department, as well as the curriculum specialists that are within the teaching and learning department. And then all school policies, they are influenced by PTOs and PTAs, as well as just the stakeholders in general. The school does a very nice job of having social media collaboration with all stakeholders, so that stakeholders can be a part of, different support groups to give their own feedback on, the things that we're doing within our district. In terms of school organizations, some of the big school organizations that we have are the booster clubs. And then we have, different types of, school specific organizations, FCCLA, FFA. In terms of our community leaders here in Council Bluffs, Matt Walsh is the mayor. We have 7 members that make up our council here in Council Bluffs. Matt Walsh is a very progressive leader for the community. He's deeply involved in our school district. He's constantly in and out of schools, supporting kids, reading to kids. In our own school district, our superintendent of schools is Dr. Vicki Murillo. And her big overall idea is just forward and driven thinking, always taking things to the next level. Really, that big trades academy and giving those kids the opportunity to either get an associate's degree, year 13 completed, or a certification, have been big on her radar this year. And then in terms of administration that fall underneath of Dr. Murillo, we have 45 administrators, including district staff, principals, and assistant principals within the community school district. In terms of the economic conditions, some of the things that we have here in our school district is we have growth plans. Growth plans go within the city of Council Bluffs as well as our school. We kind of know what land is still available, and then we know what kind of grants are available. And those are really important because of, we continue to branch out, we continue to expand. One of the things that our district really wants to do besides the Trades Academy and providing students with the opportunity to get that second piece of paper is that they want to create their own self-sustainable preschool. Right now, preschool is in every single building. However, they would really like to have an early childhood building specifically. So that is why it is so important to really work together with community officials to have growth plans. Um, in terms of that, we have community leaders that are really driven and really supportive of our school district. And that was really important for us because it takes the students into account constantly. And then in terms of the average income, it's well above the poverty line, which is amazing because the community is always financially thriving. And that's huge for our students. In terms of political structure, I've kind of explained this earlier. In our city, we have a 7-member city council with the mayor that make and approve decisions within our own city. Everything is grant project and stimuli. It is a stimulus for revitalizing Council Bluffs. Council Bluffs is a very old city, but they're constantly preserving and making it new by preserving what is already in place. Council Bluffs receives a 1% increase in federal funding for the district. Every student brings in roughly around 7,000, and then we have around 70 million for funding. In terms of Iowa, our state budget is around 16.5%, give or take, for K-12 related expenses. So with any other city, with any big city, you know that there is going to be gang related activity and drugs. There is, I would say, less gang activity and more drug usage throughout the city. This does put some concern on students. It also creates some social tension around our schools and the trauma that our kids see. Like I said, the gangs are very little. I work in one of the high schools, and at Abraham Lincoln, I would say, in terms of gangs, it's very non-existent, very more individualized and isolated incidents that we see. One of the things that's very interesting about the way that our school district is structured is that we have a dividing line. It's a viaduct that really separates the high poverty area from the significantly more wealthy area. And that really is also true for the 2 community school districts in Council Bluffs as well. We also have another viaduct that separates, Council Bluffs Community School District from Lewis Central. Honestly, at this point, there is no cultural tensions that exist throughout Council Bluffs. I would say that having the 2 different school districts certainly does make for a very interesting culture among students, stakeholders, and staff. Here are some extra resources that I did find online. A lot of these I've used more recently when we moved into our new house that we built, and also just looking for some community resources because we just had our newest member arrive in our family. And so these are just a few of the resources that we use more frequently in our house, as well as school district. In terms of multicultural issues, the census from Council Bluff website did not it didn't necessarily depict the Hispanic population in the schools. What's interesting to me is the district is very culturally sensitive and aware of a larger Hispanic population. I would say this to be very true in my classes. We have multicultural communities at both high schools and middle schools to really help with this demographic. And then we have 3 district interpreters that are available at all times to serve for Spanish-speaking families, which is amazing. In terms of the power structure, decisions are made from the school board with the superintendent providing the recommendations. The decisions that are made by the school board don't necessarily come strictly from the superintendent. The superintendent just makes a recommendation based on what she has gathered. The school board really is the final, the naysay, or if you will, of what is going to happen. In terms of other influencers, there is no other influencers at this time except for the state government for funding because that does vary every year. How we measure public opinion, excuse me. in the district is continuously focusing on the positive and proactive message. I've talked a lot about this in my previous modules.